Welcome.
We certainly hope you all enjoy the show.
They're eating the dogs.
Because I know cops doesn't start till 4.
Coming back. Welcome back. Big Monday. Shooting at it live. Coming at you. New angles. New setup. Basically, we
started over.
Basically starting fresh. I don't know where anything is anymore. If you turn out the lights, I just bump into everything.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Bear doesn't even know what to do down here yet.
Yeah, he's hiding out on the floor down there by my feet. Yeah, I mean, let us know what everyone thinks of the new angles. Chat's already blowing up. Mike and Amy chatting it up, blowing up, giving us some heat in the chat. Good to see it.
Now you're sitting on a couch that's not all ripped up anymore.
Yeah, and this couch sits a little taller. I feel like my posture's a little bit better over here. But I also feel like that because this couch is larger, it's making me look smaller on camera. Like I look so little sitting here, little elf on the shelf.
It probably could be zoomed in a little farther.
Yeah. Does it zoom in farther?
Yeah, we could probably zoom in.
Oh
no, that is max zoom.
That might be it.
That is max zoom.
The camera is mounted like 12 feet away from me on the other side of the room. But it's kind of a cool.
It's probably just out of frame from this one.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, a little bit of a new setup down here, new styling.
I might have to get a different angle for myself because I feel like I'm looking at one of the videos that people do where they're like looking at they put the camera right on the person's forehead and they face it down,
like
super
the 360,
wide, the super wide angle. That's what it looks like. I feel like looking at myself here.
Mount it way up above your head so you got the producer cam going.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's kind of what it looks like here.
Yeah, it kind of does actually. The behind the scenes cam over there. But yeah, big Monday night. We're hanging out and we got our dad here tonight. He hasn't been on in a few episodes. So
Ancient's not quite the right word, but I will go with the old guy energy. Although I do feel ancient at times.
That Mike, this is our dad. So obviously you haven't done your homework. Claim to be a fan.
You can't expect too much. He lives in the middle of the country. I mean, what comes out of the middle of the country? Silt.
Yeah,
comes down the river and flows out into the ocean. I mean, come on.
Coal.
I don't know. It's tornadoes, corn, soybeans, and silt.
Dust Bowl.
We won't expect too much from Mike tonight.
Yeah. What's it like being old?
It sucks. No, anybody that tells you that it doesn't suck is lying to you.
I remember when we were kids, you would complain, or not complain, but you had like a number in your head. And it was like everything after that was downhill. Do you remember what you used to say?
35 or 40.
Yeah.
In that range. Everything just goes basically to shit after that. You have to really work hard to not have that happen.
Yeah.
But from, as a teenager, teenagers suck. I mean, I think everybody kind of agrees with that. You're not old enough to do anything, but you're too old to do anything fun.
Right.
And
awkward stage.
Yeah, and then you go through this little short period where you can do whatever you want, but you don't have any money to do it.
Yeah.
And then you start to get to adulthood, and then people tell you can't do anything because now you're an adult.
Mm.
And then you have a few good years, and then...
A few good years to shine.
And then, 35 to 40, just everything starts to hurt. You can't play sports like you used to. I mean, why do professional athletes all retire in that range? Except for a few.
Right. Well,
you just peek out there and then it's, your body starts to say, what the hell's going on here? We weren't supposed to live this long.
I think you can, like Mike's saying here, his dad's a gym rat. Mike, I don't know what kind of family you come from, but it sounds like you guys are pretty severe.
What does that mean?
I just mean, well, Mike's going to West Point, which is like a military school. He's in Boy Scouts. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a very regimented, disciplined household over there. I wouldn't be shocked, right? From the sound of things. But I was going to say, it seems to me, again, it also takes money. But if you have the money and you put the time in to staying active, but then you also have to have the money because it definitely takes like steroids and supplements at a certain and it does. That's the sad truth of it. But any of these like, yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, older people, people in their 50s and up that you see that are in good shape, that are in good health, like it's not an accident. It's basically a science experiment, and it happens to have gone right. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah. I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to be going to the gym and eating perfectly or anything like that. I just think you have to be active.
Yeah.
And I went from working every day, basically a workout for 8-10 hours a day, to doing nothing, sitting in a seat. And that was the worst thing ever. And then, so I went from logging by hand, cutting things with a chainsaw, to sitting in a machine, and that was downhill. Yeah. And then I went back to logging with a chainsaw, and that was pretty decent. Like, it took me a while, but I lost weight. I felt good again. And then you realize, oh, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because every joint starts to hurt, because you're essentially lifting or working out all day long.
Right.
And then I made the biggest mistake ever, as I went and ran an excavator for 5 years. And there's nothing worse than that. That is just death. Sitting in a seat for who knows how long every day. And I mean,
and I would say like food is like your only vice too. Like you don't have
food and Pepsi. Yeah.
You don't have any other vices. So that's it.
Yeah. Food's the worst vice you can have though, because you have to have it.
Right. It's a necessity.
Every single other thing, if you had a vice, you can quit it.
Yeah.
Food is the worst though.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a choice. You have to eat something.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's, I could obviously take better care of myself. I wish I did at some points.
I think you are right. Like you're saying, your joints, like, I think maybe if you want to use somebody that's not like a complete super freak, going to the gym all the time on a million things. Like, I don't know what Tony Hawk does, but I'm sure there's something he takes or something he uses that's going to help with his joint pain that lets him still skates.
I think he just skateboards.
I would bet my life that Tony Hawk crawls out of bed
in pain
and has to
maybe
take an hour or two every morning to stretch and get his joints moving.
Maybe that's what that's all it is. But
he can't skateboard hardly at all anymore. Like he can barely ride a couple runs on his half pipe because he is in so much pain. But he still does it. Yeah, Carter, can you move that?
Maybe that's all it is. I guess maybe it's just the will to. No shit, you can. All this time. We also moved the TV around in here, so it's the TV itself.
Yeah, well,
moved
that's
over
why
more.
that's why I asked, because I'm turning my head 90 degrees to look at the chat.
What about is it Laird Hamilton? He's the surfing guy.
Yeah.
He's also an older guy now. He's in great shape.
He's big on shrooms to keep him healthy.
That is thing. Well, it's in his coffee, right? That's his big thing. He sells his coffee. But it's all about regenerative therapy and things like that.
I actually think it's about living in a climate and surfing. I mean, think about it for a minute. If you're chasing waves around, I mean, yeah, you can get pummeled by waves, but that's not the same as working on a hard surface, falling down on a hard surface like skiing or snowboarding or skateboarding or BMX riding.
Yeah.
You're getting thrashed to the ground multiple times to learn a trick. When you're surfing, yeah, you might get pummeled by the wave, but you also might just fall in the water.
I'm really scared to talk any crap about surfing because I'm terrified of it. and I think you could hit
wouldn't
a
try it?
reef. I would try it if I went to Jamie O'Brien's surf school, I would try it. But I don't want to just get a surfboard and go out there and look like a what do they call it? Lolo. Some Lolo stuffed me in the barrel. That's from Lilo and Stitch.
I think if you were on smaller waves, I think it would be fun to do. I think trying to catch the wave would be the hardest part, trying to get onto the wave. But once you
I bet
stood
you
up,
on a surfboard, it's a lot easier than body surfing, though.
I don't think so.
Well, no, I think so. What Carter's saying, like the takeoff, right? Like paddling into the takeoff.
That's what Curtis is saying. It's going to be tough to catch a wave, and I think being a bigger object, a bigger board would have more push to it than your body would.
You also got to paddle a bigger board though too.
Yeah,
I mean,
you really got to swim it, and I don't know how you could do it with just your arms. You know what I mean? When I'm body surfing, I'm using my whole everything I can to swim up and catch this wave. Plus, I might even jump off the sand.
Yeah, well, that's
and
what
get
I
a
mean.
good push.
Just to body surf, I'm running as much as I can on the. I mean, it's more of a walk, but you're trying to use your feet and swim to catch a wave.
you run to body surf.
Well,
I always
you
swam
take-
to body surf.
you take a couple steps trying to get some speed, you jump, and then
for,
you start
for
to
me,
swim.
I would just say it depends on how deep I am. Like I definitely, depending on where I'm standing, I can just jump forwards, in line with the wave and surf it in. But if I was,
Yeah,
if it
if
was
you're out too deep, you
yeah,
gotta
if I was
swim, but-
a little deeper and it was a little bit of a bigger wave, I'd probably be swimming to try.
I'm
and
just
catch up
thinking.
with it.
Usually you're out about waist deep, and you can take a couple steps, jump. And
Yeah,
then
or push
swim.
off the sand and but yeah, this thing with a surfboard, just paddling with my arms. But then I think of getting smacked into a reef or something, or I think of the times I have been body surfing and got
Slammed into the ground.
yeah, well, because the sand is hard when you hit it. And then when the riptide drags you across it like sandpaper, you come up and you're just all completely cut up because it's literally like dragging sandpaper across your body, getting dragged across the ocean floor. So I don't want to talk too much shit about surfing, but I do think maybe it could be the key for the fountain of youth or whatever,
I think
Definitely.
it's probably one of the best forms of exercise you could possibly do. Focuses on your core, keeps your balance good, and it's not concrete you're landing on.
That
Might feel like it sometimes, but it's not.
and
Right.
golf. Golf's pretty good too.
You don't get much exercise unless you're walking the whole course.
Yeah,
so.
you keep your joints looser. You're able to stay a little more flexible by swinging a club.
I think the point is
What's-
literally doing anything,
What's
right?
the
Yeah.
guy's name? The old guy's name. I can't remember his name. Something Trevino.
Lee Trevino,
Was it Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That guy is
big fat guy like me,
Yeah,
big fat Mexican.
yeah. He listening to him, he says he gets up in the morning. I don't know how old he is, but he looks really good for his age.
Got to be 70 plus.
Yeah, I think he's in his 80s.
Could be.
But he
He was playing golf when I was a kid, so
he gets up in the morning, goes, plays golf, hits a bunch of balls at the range, goes home to his gym, does a few exercises, sleeps on his recliner that's in the middle of the gym, wakes up, does a few more, and then goes, eats dinner, and goes to bed.
can't beat
Yeah.
that.
Just staying fit.
I think the other thing too, like you're saying about surfing, I think the other thing too is truly being in a warm climate too. I mean, that
Yeah.
helps tremendously.
And I think I think if you really are into the sport, like it goes for a lot of things, but I think the reason a lot of these crunchy granola outdoor hippie type people, the reason they end up sometimes appearing, like not always, sometimes you'll meet a guy that's in his 30s and you think he's 60. Like I've definitely seen that in the outdoors community, but I would say
Yeah, the sun beats the hell out of you.
but
Your
also
skin anyway.
at the same time, you'll meet these people that are in their 50s and that you could have guessed they were in their 30s, right? They appear much younger and they're not like as beaten down by the world. And I think some of that comes from like like if you are into surfing or you are into skiing, you're tied to the weather in a weird way, and you can't control good surf. It either is or it isn't. And so when there is good surf, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Everything gets dropped. There's good surf. I'm going surfing. Same with skiing. You can't control the snow. When there's good snow, you're going to go. Everything else. Yeah. And it's these people that are able to really live like that, like I don't know if it's because you have to be able to not stress about things to live that way, or only people that don't stress about things choose to live that way. I don't know what it is, but there has to be something in that correlation of doing things at this. I don't even know what pace to call it at, because if the weather's right, it might be at a breakneck pace. You might not stop for weeks if the weather's right, but then it might not be right, and things might be slow, and you know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. I think that's true to some degree. I mean,
you're not locked into a schedule or something all the time.
There's also the mental aspect of surfing too. That like Zen mental aspect that almost every surfer you see talks about. So
yeah.
Mike asked if we had surf pools here.
Probably, I would say. That we're not too far from Boston, and after my recent drive to Virginia, I realized I'm not too far from New York either. And
5 hours.
And these are big cultural hubs of the nation. I'm sure somewhere around there might be a surf pool.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
We don't have surf pools, but we have a thing called the Atlantic Ocean. People from the Midwest may not understand what that is, but
there must be a surf pool in Mass, though.
Well, that's why can you just look it up? Can you just Google it?
When I say surf pool, I'm talking like Typhoon Lagoon, like big pool that a wave pool.
That's a wave pool. We're talking about man-made, like a wave, like a surf wave.
I don't think that's what a surf
Kelly
pool
Slater
is.
one's the only one I've seen. But.
So, there's the Kelly Slater one. That's one that uses the train, right?
Yep.
And then there's Typhoon Lagoon. I think there are other places in the country that are built like this. But what me and Curtis are talking about is more similar to like wake surfing. So there's different places where
we can do that on a cruise ship.
Right.
Yes. So it's similar to that, but instead of it being water blasted over a big rubber mat, it's an actual,
like in a river.
Yes. But they will man make these things in different places. So it's not a huge wave, but it's something you can learn on.
There's actually a river. There's actually a river wave in Franklin.
Yep.
There's a river wave, but it wasn't made for surfing. It was made for kayaking.
I'll move that so you can see this.
John was a big part in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Making the kayak wave. We got to get John on here. See, okay, Mike is definitely a military kid. He lived in Hawaii. Come on. But
Mike takes a beating.
Well,
that's why he tunes in. Come on.
And again,
he was calling Dad ancient too. So
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We found the audience. These are the people we want. We want people that can take a joke, can.
Yeah, I know.
Who in this room doesn't take a beating constantly?
Right, and that's.
I mean, it's just part of it. I mean,
part of the round table.
If Mike, here's what I used to say.
Franklin NH.
Here's what I used to say
Tennessee.
About coaching baseball. If I stop talking to you, that's the worst. If I stop talking to you, if I stop making fun of you, if I stop giving you shit, that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Because that means that I'm done with you. I'm tuned out. I don't care what's going on. But if you stay engaged in any way, I mean, that's good news. So if we're breaking Mike's balls, that means he's part of the show.
Yeah, he's in on it.
I wanted to show this off earlier.
Carter's been itching to show this off.
I'm not
It's been
itching
on the screen
but
for 15 minutes.
I just was waiting I figured a slow point would come up, but I just was gonna, because we were well past the new design of the room here, but I didn't get a chance.
Wait,
to
when
show
did you
the
when
videos.
did you change the room?
This is definition of crowbar right here. We're well past it, but we're going to go back to it.
Well, I definitely did want to show it, but I figured
What's all that shit all over the floor in these pictures?
That's what I was wondering too.
that's the problem. Is so I
You have one that's not blurry?
He decided to
All right, so this is before,
Yep. This
decided
sort
a
of
little bit
during.
late.
This is sort of during because we already moved it. No, we hadn't moved the TV.
No, I just took
This
the-
is right before I got over here because you were watching Linus when I showed up.
Yeah. I took a before and after video. I
What
was
did you
curious.
film it on?
My phone. It's uploaded to Google
Is that
Photos.
the new
so-
Maple, the My Phone?
Yeah.
You don't have yours set to upload max quality?
Apparently not.
Are you going to go back to that electrician tool bag video? Do another.
I
We
think
should
you
do-
should do
we
a
should-
whole video loading the van,
Yeah.
Yeah.
start to finish, building out the van.
Won't be a lot of building probably.
And then this is after. I just was curious. I wanted. I think Dad might have an idea because I told Mom how long it took me, but I was curious how long you thought that it took to change it from what it was.
I was
to-
here when you told her.
Yeah. So, but Curtis and Caleb, they have no
definitely
idea.
probably
you
all-
it
all
took-
weekend.
Yeah, it took you all weekend, no doubt.
Do you see it?
Anybody want to guess again?
Did
Yeah.
it go into today?
Somewhat. Yeah.
16 hours. What, we gotta have an hour? We gotta,
Yeah.
16 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Right about there.
Right about there.
Yeah.
Okay.
To move the TV 4 feet.
Well, I came over and helped move the TV, which that thing, I said to Carter when we moved it, I said, God damn it, they found a way to make TVs fucking heavy again, I guess. This thing's, we used to, in our house, we used to move the furniture at least once a week. Mom would have us move the entire house upside down. And I remember Dad coming home from work and he just wants to sit down and have dinner. And Mom goes, real quick, can you just carry the TV upstairs? And I remember Dad carrying this massive refrigerator-looking thing that, we used to call a television. And you're carrying it up the stairs and you're sweating and your face is beet red and you're huffing and puffing. Like, as a kid, I thought you were going to die or something. But TVs used to be huge and heavy.
Yeah.
That's why they used to get thrown out of windows because they were big and heavy and
They smashed good.
yeah.
Well, I started this project and I didn't think it was going to take anywhere near as long as it did, but I ended up working at it from noontime until 11 o'clock the first night, and it was still a mess down here.
Mike says he's got an original Stormtrooper helmet that his dad won in the sweepstakes.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. I don't know. I wonder how many of those there actually are. If it's an original
There's probably a
trilogy
few.
helmet.
There's a big thing with people still own the original or they made molds of the original stuff and you can buy an exact copy made from a mold
now,
of the original stuff.
The original stuff. Did they make molds and actually make these things, or were they
Yeah.
made from other things?
No, they're made molds.
Yeah.
I think they were all plastic.
Because that's what I find the most interesting about the original trilogy movie props is things that were other things.
Yeah.
They don't really do that anymore. Now everything is purposely built and created. But
Only
you
place
used
they
to-
do it now is the queue at Disney.
yeah,
They use random junk, trying to make it look like other things.
making it look Star Wars.
I took Cassidy skiing for the first time this weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard you got hooked up with some bogus skis.
No, the skis were fine.
Oh, okay.
They were just they just got pretty rusty back of your truck. I was wondering if your skis are back there because
Yeah, they are, as I told you when you picked them up. I'm
Yep.
sure you noticed after one or two runs, the rust was gone.
they're still pretty rusty.
Hmm.
But she
must not have skied very hard, but
Well, she did really good for her first time. She'd never been on skis before, so.
do you always keep all of your skis inside?
Well, either mostly or
My
they're outside,
slalom
but they're not in the
slalom
back.
skis are the only ones that get kept inside that I would worry about rusting because I try and keep them like razor blades. Everything else, as long as I've been alive, has always been outside or in the shed, and they're always rusty until sharpened.
Well, they were more than just rusty, I would say. The amount of salt.
And you didn't have a sharpener?
I don't have a sharpener now. Not at my house. The amount
There's
of,
one on the shelf over there if you want it.
Well, she's going again this weekend, so
By
I
yourself?
with her sister. I left the skis there.
Well, when you get a free pair of skis, you can always take the initiative of taking them to the shop and getting them tuned, or you can just piss and moan about it. But
I'm
It's good
what
to
I'm
learn
saying,
on rusty edges, anyways. Keeps the speed down.
Yeah, well, what I am saying is that they were past rusty. The amount of salt on the edges and the rotted look of the edges. I've never seen that before.
So what you're saying is you didn't take any care to tune these skis up for your girlfriend. You just said, "Here's some rubbish. Get on them."
I did. I wiped them down and cleaned them up the best I could, but I didn't have a sharpener before I left. I ran out of time.
well, anyway, yeah, they've been in my truck for a couple of weeks with my own skis, but prior to that, they were in a barn.
Yeah,
What mountain do you go to?
McIntyre.
How do you like it there?
Oh, it's a beginner mountain.
Yeah, no,
It's-
but
it's
how do you
all
Was
right.
it too
It's-
busy or was it all right?
It was all right. I actually really like the mountain because
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty cool place.
That's where we had gone for that Motor Mayhem, right?
Yeah. It's
I
actually
thought it looked like a nice place.
it's actually a really nice mountain for beginners to learn on because it's got
Pull up that video on my channel, Carter. Just a Motor Mayhem. You can
Is that what
see the
it's called?
slopes in it. Yeah, it's like, what year was it? 2017. If you look up Motor Mayhem 2017, it should come up.
the lodge is small, but I mean, not a lot of people are there anyway, so you can.
They got 2 chairlifts, right?
They do, but they only ever run one of them.
Okay. But no, not like a super long line or anything.
No, there was no line.
That's the only thing I worried about. Where it's like,
It's Vegas.
it's basically it's in the most densely populated part of the state, and I just kind of was wondering how, like if it was too crazy, then I could see it being kind of a nightmare. But if
Yeah.
it wasn't too crazy, then I actually think it'd be a nice mountain.
I think night skiing it gets kind of busy, but we got there in the morning on Sunday and we skied 5 hours. So
That's a good day
yeah,
on a little hill, especially if you're learning. I mean,
Did you take her
5
right up
hours.
the chairlift, or did you?
um,
Was there a bunny slope there or anything?
we did the
Magic carpet.
yeah we did the carpet probably 10 times or so until she kind of got the hang of it, and then we started going up the lift, and she did really good up until lunchtime, and then after lunch we went up the lift and I accidentally took her down a blue and
Wipe out.
yeah, we had a little setback, but after that things were good.
Accidentally?
Well, it started off as a green. There was a green. You get up to the top and there's a green to the left
Yeah.
or a green to the right and a green to the left. We were going down the right. And I said, after lunch, oh, there's a green over here to the left. Let's do that. And I assume that when you start on a green, you're going to continue a green all the way to the bottom. But then it got a little steeper, and I was like, no, this must still be a green. And then I looked at the trail map later, and it goes green for like two feet, and then it's a blue. And there's no way to get off the blue. So
I was gonna say, I would assume that when you go to a new mountain, you'd look at the trail map before you went down the mountain.
well, the mountain's smaller than Abenaki. You can see every trail from the base. So.
Well, anyway, you gotta to some degree, like that is why if you can, it's great to learn skiing when you're a kid, because I don't think you can learn it without falling.
No.
I think you have to fall, and it takes a certain amount of willingness to fall.
Yeah, well, and that's what she did really good with that. So,
So Carter just pulled it up for us. This
There's
was
a
a
magic carpet right there.
This
Yeah.
is a truck event they did over at McIntyre Mountain a couple years ago, hill climb event. But this is where Curtis was skiing.
Yeah, actually,
this
we
is the
were
magic carpet right here.
that was the carpet we were on.
But there's a little video filmed back in 2018, back in the heyday of the Air Quote Awesome channel, heyday of the vlogs.
My truck probably would have done better than that.
I can't believe you guys never wanted to do any of these competitions. Like I was always frothing at the bit to do something like this, and you guys were.
I just like watching them better, I guess.
All right, whoever's got the blue Polaris, 25.
This was Blaze's cousin, right? He was doing the snowmobile race.
Yeah.
That's what got us there. Yeah, but this was the only time I had been to McIntyre. But I remembered the 2 chairlifts, and it just looked like a nice little hill.
Yeah, well, so where you're filming there, it's a nice patio. There's a big patio with fire pits, and they burn wood. They got wood burning fire pits that they got going constantly, and a bunch of chairs. So if it's nice out, you can sit outside by the fire and watch and sit there and watch the hill. Well,
Is that a homeless shelter there in the middle of the screen?
in the woods there, I don't know what that is.
But man, we used to do some cool stuff, huh?
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
This was a fun
That
video.
was the only time we ever did something like that.
Well, this in particular, but we used to try and get out and do different things back in the day.
Yeah, Cassidy's looking for tips on her skiing. She was having trouble when she would take her left turns looked really good because she was more in the front of her boots, but then when she would take a right turn, she would end up pizzaing, and her uphill ski, the back edge would just dig in, and then she couldn't really make the corner. So I think she just needs to be in the front of her skis a little bit more, but I don't know if you have any other tips on.
I always
turns.
told people, like, I'm pretty sure I told all of you guys, maybe you don't remember because you're really little, but I always kind of figured your big toe is like how you instigate anything or make things happen, because if you can imagine just putting pressure on your big toe, and the ski tip is sort of the extension of your big toe, that's the way I always look. If you don't have your big toe pressed into your boot trying to make something happen, I feel like you're too far back or you have no control.
Yeah.
But that could just be a weird thing that only a weirdo like me does.
I agree with what you're saying about your big toe. I always think of it like, again, what you're saying, try and focus on my toes. I really try and think the front tip of my boot and the tip of my toe. And you I do remember you saying your big toe. There's also a bit from SpongeBob where he's driving the car, right? and
His big toe shoots out
he's
of his
he's
shoe.
trying to learn how to drive, and Patrick is telling him, nice and easy, big toe, just your big toe, and his big toe pops out of the shoe and he presses the gas pedal. So in my head as a kid, the way I always put it together is, you're not necessarily pressing on the gas, although as I got into racing, I'd find out you really were. When you're turning, you're actually making speed. But yeah, so if I want to turn to the left, I think of my right foot, my right toe. Okay, my right toe, time to press on the gas. Now I'm turning to the left. Okay, now I got to turn back to the right. Well, then my left toe has to press on the gas. Left toe on the gas. Now I'm going to the right. That's, I don't know how helpful that is, but
I would say, Ashlyn, what mom just said. Ashlyn said the trick is to focus on putting pressure on your downhill ski, and that's what I would say too. Is just when you're turning, if she's trying to turn to the right, put all your weight onto your left ski, your left foot when you're making the corner.
It's so bad. Like I don't even know. I can't even think of using my left leg to ski. Like it just kind of dangles there like a support. And you know how it's like, how like big trucks have that extra wheel that's not really touching the ground, and it just is like kind of free spinning there. That's what my left leg is doing, and I just kind of ski just on my right leg.
Went from loose leg to tag axle. So.
Yeah, just kind of bouncing around. But yeah, I don't know. I've really found that for me, it's really difficult to try and teach somebody how to ski or explain what it is I'm doing on skis. And I've also found it's really difficult for other people to try and tell me or explain it to me. And when I was racing, the only time anything clicked and I made progression was I would, race with these guys that were a lot better than me, and going down the trail, all I would do is I would sit like right behind them, and I could never catch them. They're way faster than me. But all I would do is just try and mimic every exact motion of their body and mimic every exact turn. And eventually, on one of those turns, as I'm trying to mimic the guy in front of me, it clicked, and I was accelerating through the turn because I had gotten up on both edges, and I was like, oh my God, this is what everybody has been trying to explain to me that I wasn't getting. And all of a sudden, boom, it was there. I had it.
Well, I think that's what I would say, though, is you just have to keep trying different things. Everybody's going to tell you a million different things to try, and you have to do it as many different ways as you can until you get that feeling. Once you get that feeling, then you know.
Then you know.
So maybe it's not the big toe. Maybe it's the, maybe it's your arch feels a certain way, or maybe your knee bends a certain way, and that clicks in your mind. But like, when you play golf with somebody, everybody has a way to fix your swing.
Right.
But all it does is screw you up. You have to just do it yourself, and something will eventually click, and you'll be able to replicate it. But exactly like what you're saying, it's really not something you can even teach.
Yeah, I find it extremely hard to teach or to be taught.
Well, that's what I kind of said. I think she's a little bit beyond lessons at this point already, and she just has to kind of keep going up and down until she figures out the turn by doing it.
And the thing I notice with kids in their progression with skiing, right? The difference in a kid that will progress over the course of a season, from beginner to expert group, right? Which you'll see happen, because kids have that ability, right? You can pick up stuff like nothing. But it just comes down to your willingness to fall, essentially. Like, how scared are you? If you're not afraid at all, definitely a bad thing, especially for kids, because that's how you get hurt. But to an extent, they're pushing themselves. They are getting more speed, which is forcing them to turn harder, and naturally they progress faster.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's the only way you're going to learn is, in a lot of things in life, is you got to keep doing it. And yeah, you're going to fall, you're going to crash, you're going to get hurt, but you got to keep pushing yourself. Otherwise, you just stay at that certain level and you don't improve.
Yeah, you have to. And I guess that maybe is like, to apply it to life, like skiing is a lot of fun to me. So I put in, I'll take the punishment, right? Because it's fun, right? How much work it takes or whatever. I'm willing to go back for that beating again because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But sometimes like you try and apply that to life in general. It's like, I guess you just have to find, like, maybe I got to find a different career or something where, like, I can feel like I'm taking a beating, but still want to go back for more, instead of taking a beating and just feeling like I want to go home.
Well, your career choice at the moment, there isn't really any. It's not like you can push the limits. I mean,
yeah,
it's it's a much different thing, but there are a lot of other careers where you just have to keep pushing. Push, and see where you can get to.
Yeah. And I think like podcasting, something like this is kind of a similar example of just, we're going to keep trying this until we figure out what's going to stick, what's going to work.
Yeah. Well, this is a good example. You push into some area that, maybe you haven't before. Or you say, you come up with a topic that really hits home with certain people or something like that. And that's all it takes.
Something
But you can't
good.
stay stagnant,
Right. Well, we've updated the set.
Do you think we get like people other viewers filtering in and out, like people just finding the channel at random?
I don't know. In the YouTube Studios thing, I don't know how it gets its data, but essentially we don't have enough traction on the channel to get any real accurate data. and so I find it really frustrating to try and use the YouTube studios and try and get any kind of idea as to what is going on the channel analytically. And I know for a fact, or not even know for a fact, but I strongly feel like the channel has been like throttled in a way because we've been spam posting the podcast. My vlog I posted got the same amount of views as the podcast, which tells me it's only these dedicated people that are watching the podcast that are even finding my channel, because that hasn't happened to me in years, where I post a video and it's going to get this, like, after days, it's going to be this. I don't even think it has 50 views. I think it's got like 30.
Well, I wonder if all your subscribers got pissed at the show and stopped.
How are we still going up in
Not
subscribers though?
interacting.
We went up. We're up to 2,250 right now.
How many?
Which is the new high for the channel. We've never broken that.
I don't know. Well, maybe we'll just keep it'll just keep on.
It just something to me
Growing.
doesn't seem right on YouTube recently. It doesn't like I almost wonder if we started this podcast on its whole own new channel, would it already have more viewers than it does now on my channel?
Maybe.
What is YouTube? Why are they shunning me? Because why? I don't get it. What is happening here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think YouTube is just focusing on the bigger channels, so if you're not getting enough raw views, they just kind of put you in a drawer.
Yeah.
Until you hit on something that's semi-viral, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. Let's pull this one back out and promote it a little."
You know what I think makes a huge difference nowadays too is, one, putting a custom thumbnail on, and two, writing a description for your video, like actually having a description. You can also add the tags to it, but I think if you put a description in it, YouTube would definitely push it a little bit more.
That's what's searchable, is the description.
I was gonna say, when you search stuff in the search bar, if it's in the description of the video, even if it's not in the title, if somebody searched for it and it's in your description, it'll come up.
Yeah.
And that's something we've known. That's something I've been talking about. As we approach the 100th, we're gonna have to start doing better titles and thumbnails, definitely, in order to get people to click. Because I personally, after the thumbnail we normally put up was fine for one episode, I think, but
We put it up every single episode.
yeah. So I think again, I just want to come up with a way that's gonna be easy to do it. To make a new thumbnail, but yeah, definitely need a new and different thumbnail for every episode and an actual title for every episode. The episodes that have an actual title and an actual thumbnail have double, triple, quadruple the amount of views.
Really?
So yeah, it's like a joke.
I mean, the title is kind of real. You could put a little bit of a description in the title, I feel like, but
yeah, that's
Kinville Show number 23.
Yeah, but I think having any little note about what's going on, because
Yeah, you could say this Kinville Show.
Learning to ski.
Yeah, first time skiing.
But the other thing too is, I don't know that YouTube pushes live shows, especially when they're live or after the fact. I never get any recommendations when I'm scrolling through my YouTube for previously live videos. Sometimes they'll pop up on channels that I already watch, but it's not a common thing to see a live video.
Yeah, maybe we're just going about the production wrong.
I think it just needs to be I think being live is fine, and I think that's definitely the way to do it, but I think it needs to be advertised somewhere else.
Or re-uploaded.
Yeah, but
Re-uploaded where, though?
Onto the video section.
No, but they're not pushing it because it's...
No, Curtis is saying we take down the live stream,
And put it
edit
up.
it like a video, and then put it up.
Yeah, I don't know that
Can we put up hotels on Boardwalk, right? You have to just look at this channel as this is just where the content is, right? We have to find other ways other than using the YouTube algorithm. We have to find other ways to funnel people to where the content is. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think that's like like we joke about clipping things. We haven't actually done it, but sometimes we'll say, "Oh, that's a clip," or "clip that."
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I should-
every podcast I've found in the last 5 years has been because of clip on TikTok. So,
I was thinking about that. If I can remember, if I can remember, I would clip. I just don't know what episodes I need to go back through and find stuff to clip.
I think
But-
you just comb through everything and clip through everything, and like ideally, you'd like on TikTok or Instagram. I think you'd want to post something every day. So you go through all these hours of podcasts and just have a big stockpile of clips, and it doesn't even have to matter what episode it's from or when or why. You just take the clip and post it.
Just make sure you post at least one
at
every
the
day.
Kinville Show, yeah. A clip every day, and then eventually one will hit. You'll be talking about something stupid or something topical. Like talk about JD Vance in Vermont.
He's a sugar bush, right?
I think
Yeah.
it was Sugar Bush.
Yeah,
the
it
pictures I saw.
Yeah, it was Sugar Bush.
I didn't look it up too heavily. I just saw one story on the news, and
Maybe you can talk to Ryder about it on Wednesday.
yeah, actually that's true. But
People were out there protesting.
yeah, I just saw this picture of a woman with a baby on her back, and it was just so Vermont. This woman with the baby and all the ski gear on, and I did see one.
Was
funny
that before
sign.
or after the Zelensky interview?
During?
It must have been.
I think it was around before.
But you must. I have no,
was before.
honestly, I have no idea. I don't know how time works, and it's really
I didn't
it's
know
really confusing.
The Zelensky thing was on Friday, so I don't know when the Sugar
I
Bush
saw
pictures came
all of
out,
this
but-
today. I saw the Zelensky thing today. I saw the Sugar Bush thing
Oh,
today.
you didn't see.
I saw the sugar bush stuff over the weekend, but I don't know whether that's when it happened.
So it was
or-
right-
I have no
right on the
idea.
same
That
time.
yeah.
yeah.
It's-
What did you think of the Zelensky thing?
I don't even. Well, the thing is, people are all pissing their pants about it, but to me, it just I don't know enough about what's going on to know why you should be upset by anything.
Well, you shouldn't be upset about it. It was the best thing I've ever seen.
I think it was 100% staged.
You
I
think?
think they knew that they wanted to do this before he even got there.
Well, no, he didn't know it was staged.
No, but Vance
right.
and Trump definitely. This was all staged for the media. They wanted to seem tough. And honestly, if you have a problem with what they did, then you must love dictators that torture their own citizens in their country.
Clip it. That's a clip.
But I mean, who would be mad at yelling at a dictator like that? I mean, I know there's a bunch of people that slipped on the ice, bash their head, and don't know any better. But
I mean, he just put him in his place. It's pretty cut and dry what happened.
no, I don't understand what the outcry is, because the guy's a scumbag. He's a known scumbag. He's been a known scumbag for years. He went and picked a fight with Russia for some unknown reason. We've given him billions of dollars. What standing does he have other than to get his ass kicked now?
Yeah, and that's just it. That's basically the deal was Trump wanted to make peace between him and Russia, and
Right.
he doesn't want peace. He just wants to keep fighting the war. And Trump said, "Well, too bad. If you don't want to make peace, see how it works on your own."
Yeah.
And we're gonna stop
Well,
giving you
that
anything.
that was kind of the gist that I had gotten as well. Is that it was the idea is to negotiate peace.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why from the outside looking in, I just couldn't. I didn't know why it was as big of a news story as maybe it was. You know what I mean? Like
Honestly,
I don't
because
think
it
hardly
was
any.
a put on, and the news media was in on it. Like one of the reporters was breaking the guy's balls about not wearing a suit.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, so somebody said, "Hey, we got a line for you here. We want you to use. We want to put this out in the media. We want everyone involved in this. We want to make sure everybody in the world knows that we're not taking shit from anybody. We're gonna break their balls for not dressing properly."
And so is that really what people were mad about, though? People were really mad because they were mean to him.
Yeah, they think that Trump is a bully and that he should talk nice to everyone, and that's just not true.
Because that, I guess, is just it is to again, I don't know if he's a good or a bad guy. It seems like the jury's not out, right? If Zelensky is in the books of history, is this going to be? Are they going to get their independence because Zelensky's a great leader? I have no idea. I don't know how things are going to go. But the point is, I don't see any like real need for us to be real friendly to them necessarily. You know what I mean? Like at least no more friendly than we would be to another foreign leader. You know what I mean? Like especially like I don't know. Yeah, I just think I like the idea of America saying we are gonna be the best, you know, and we will take your lunch and you will have to smile and laugh because we're America and you're not. Like I know that's not maybe necessarily right, but when you're sitting in America as an American, don't like
America first.
I mean, I
Would
don't
you rather
think
have it that way or the other way around?
Well, I don't
because there's no
because
one person is that way.
And like I don't have there's nobody from Nepal, you know, saying, oh, you know, we have to send sunscreen to the Americans because on the East Coast every summer they get sunburned and it's increasing their chances of skin cancer, so we're gonna raise money to send sunscreen for aid. Like, no, maybe it's because we don't need it, I don't know, but I've seen some pretty bad suffering here in America, and it doesn't seem like any other country is coming to help us. So yeah, I do think to an extent, I think fuck every other country. Let's do whatever it takes to make this place a clean and happy, safe place for everybody. I
don't think you have to say fuck every other country. I think you have to get your house in order first.
Right.
We
I guess
we can
that's
be
just it.
friendly and help other countries all we want if we can afford it, but
Yeah.
we can't afford what we have now. We're just digging a deeper hole, and if we don't straighten it out, you know, we won't be there to help anybody. We won't even exist.
I want there to be a way, like, for it to not be like complete complete Doc Brown isotopes to talk about anything political. You know, like I wish it didn't feel like radioactive isotopes that we got from the Libyans.
So I saw this. We were talking about the Zelensky thing, and I don't know if you watched. Did you watch the Zelensky interview?
I actually saw more of the SNL skit where
I mean, that's pretty. The SNL skit's pretty close to what happened. But I saw this meme. I can't find it. I didn't save it. I wish I did. But Will Ferrell is supposed to be JD Vance here in this clip.
Okay.
Then there it is. That's it. I thought you said bad cop, bad cop.
No, that's
I
not
thought you said bad cop, bad
that's
cop.
That's that. I just ruined it.
Good try though.
I tried to find. I can't even find the clip. But Will Ferrell comes. He's like, "I'm sorry that I got so aggressive. I saw the way you were acting. I knew I had to top that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Good cop, bad cop." And Will Ferrell goes. Then he says that. God. There it is. I thought you said bad cop, bad cop.
You know, what if the whole thing was a put on too? Like, they're going to attack Zelensky to see if he retaliates. Like, what if he stands up and wants to fight somebody? You know, I mean, maybe they were just trying to push his buttons.
Yeah,
could have been.
It probably will make Putin a little more willing to talk to Trump, though. The fact that he was yelling at Zelensky.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of trying to make peace, like maybe that was the point of it too.
Yeah.
Like he's
We're
playing
not,
some 3D chess here.
Yeah, we're not helping out Ukraine.
Yeah.
I got some good reels if you want to pull those up, Carter.
Just diving right into the reels. You don't want to keep talking about this.
Well, I don't know.
I don't
hit
know.
it pretty hard. I mean, do you want to get political on here?
We already did.
Curtis's Reels of the Week.
Who knows what you're gonna see?
Get real.
So the Kinville Show now has its own Instagram. Feel free to follow it. And if you have anything you'd like to send us that you'd like to see on the show, go ahead and send it to the Kinville Show on Instagram, and you might get your reel on the show.
Yeah.
Look at you
Moving
go.
up in the world,
Yeah.
like George Jefferson.
Moving on up.
All right, this first one I just thought was a pretty goofy clip of Billy Mays.
It's years of wear and tear damage. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. Is this real?
Sander simulates years
This
of
is
wear
really
and tear
Billy
damage.
Mays?
Yeah.
Now, Billy Mays had like a drug problem, right?
I don't know.
Is that what we heard about him, or what?
I don't know. He
what
must
was
have
his deal?
some kind
Looks
of
like he's
problem.
shit faced there. So.
Yeah, I thought he had something like he was like
There's
a
a
known like party animal or something.
There's a reason he died. All right, there's a couple. This one's kind of funny. This is some.
Is that
kids
what we're
playing-
going for? Kind of funny?
Well, I don't know. Ones I got a kick out of. This is garage basketball.
Been involved in a few games like
Yeah, I
this.
think I've seen this before.
He's got the armband on. What a flop.
It's LeBron James. right there.
Taking a flop like that. And this one kid's got the leg warmer thing on. You know what I see all the time now that drives me insane is the leggings under gym shorts as just like a I'm just gonna wear this out in public as if it's normal.
Yeah.
Like the NBA.
To be fair, I did that skiing, but
But you're going like again, it's different. You're going skiing, right? Or if you're going to or from the gym, you know, but to just wear it and just
as an outfit.
I'm like, woof. I'm not okay. Might as well get yourself some toe sandals. Go climb a wall with your toe sandals.
What's this one? You gonna give
Yeah,
backstory?
no, this one's just to play it.
Just to play it.
You go get your...
First time driving his mom's car. Jesus.
You go get your...
Speaking of drugs and alcohol.
It's amazing the light post
You go get your...
didn't not.
Yeah, the concrete was
down.
pretty rugged.
Not anything that bad, but when me and Calvin were in Vermont, this kid we met, we were talking to him at the bar, and he's got a Tesla, and we're like, "Oh, we've never seen a Tesla." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll go. I'll show you the Tesla." He's showing us the car, all the doors open and stuff, and he's like, "You guys want to ride?" And I'm thinking to myself, like, fuck no. Like, this kid's from Boston. I barely know him. We just walked out of a bar. Fuck no, I don't want to ride. And before I know it, Calvin's already in the passenger seat. And so I say to myself, okay, well, you know what? These things can drive themselves. I'm like, how is it possibly going to crash? So I get in the back seat of the Tesla. And we all sit in, and the doors fold down. It's really cool, and the lights come on, and it's kind of neat. It's cold as fuck because it's an electric car, so it doesn't have heat.
Yeah.
But he turns on the car, and I don't know what buttons he pressed or if there's even a pedal. I don't know exactly what he did, but we just go full speed backwards into a snowbank. Just go wham into the snowbank, and I go, thanks for the ride, everyone out of the car. And that was the end of that. And we actually had to take the kid back to our apartment because he was too shit faced, and he ended up puking on my couch. And then he tried to invite himself back for another ski weekend. I was like, yeah, sorry, Schwinn. I had a good time and all, but yeah, no, you're not coming back.
All right. So before we play the next clip, I was going to tell a story. In the 6th grade, the 1 year that we went to public school, Carter and I don't know what the reason was. I don't know how it started, but to go to the bathroom, you had to go to this teacher, and there were like 3 cards to go to the bathroom. You had to have one of these cards to leave the lunchroom to go to the bathroom. They only let
Hall pass.
Not a hall pass because it was right there.
Bathroom pass.
A bathroom pass.
Right.
And they only allowed so many people in the bathroom at a time. Well, for whatever reason, we would.
Well, can I just say, there's only 3 toilets in each bathroom.
Right.
So there's no good reason more than 3 people at a time should be in those bathrooms. So I can see where this is a reasonable way for adults to keep track of a plethora of children and make sure there's no more than the reasonable amount of children in the bathroom at any one time. So it might seem unfair from your child eyes, but let me just say, as an adult.
Well, let me continue the story.
Yeah, you can finish the story, but these bathroom passes.
So we started this thing where, for whatever reason, we would eat our lunch as fast as possible, and then we'd go hang out in the bathroom the rest of the lunch. So, on occasion, there was some bathroom brawls, but very rarely. But play this video.
Start recording. I did. Tell someone to go. Go.
Oh, dang! This kid's getting this shit smacked out of him.
They call it slap boxing.
Go.
This whole account is just kids
Open
doing that.
hand.
Yeah. Open
Hey, I
hand
mean,
boxing.
why not? I actually like there's clips like that make you hopeful for the youth. It's like, hey, they're still having fun.
But that's what it reminded me of anyway.
And
that
that's
story.
also why there's only 3 kids allowed in the bathroom at a time.
Yeah. All right, this one here is just to play it.
This truck about to pull a whole tree. That's what we do with this truck. We get money out this truck all day.
Get money with this truck. He's doing an awful lot with that saw. Oh, Christ's sake.
What are they doing with a 2x4?
Hey, these guys are trained professionals, all right?
Making money with that truck.
He's trying to cut out a gap there. They're gonna put the 2x4 in, I think. Holy shit, is that ugly?
What they use an extension cord to pull it down?
They made the bands again. Job completed. Y'all know that's what we do. Get money.
Yeah, by the grace of God, that thing didn't hit a house or somebody's car. I mean, holy shit.
Look at how dull the saw is.
It's not even making dust.
Oh my God. What a mess they made too. You still can't pass the street. Clearly the sun is going down and you still can't pass the street.
If you pay attention too, the tree went the opposite direction they were pulling it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too.
Because they were pulling it, you can see the extension cord there. They've got wrapped all around the tree, and then the way it fell is sort of right where that guy's standing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The fun part is that's not even repost. That's not a reposted video. That's a self edit onto his
personal account.
That's his business account.
That's
right?
the business account. So
Yeah.
if you want to see more jobs, you can click on it and look at more jobs.
I mean, at a certain point, you gotta just have it done, right? You know, and if you don't know any better,
they're getting after it.
Yeah.
wherever they are.
Hey,
I wonder what they pay for insurance.
Certainly had to have been a cash only job. Chainsaw was definitely stolen.
The whole crew, the truck, the tools, everything probably came from the pawn shop and it's going right back.
This next one took place at a Renaissance fair, and I just I thought it was funny.
Oh, the whole tent's going up. Yeah, it's done. Oh, the Hobbit music coming in. Oh man.
I don't know what went on in there.
I like it when the guy comes out of the tent. Their socks are burning.
Yeah, his feet are on fire. Jeez. Gotta love the Renaissance Fair.
What do you suppose they spilled in there to set that thing on fire?
I bet it's like I bet there was like a fire breathing trick or something that he's gonna do. Some kind of alcohol or gasoline, something that's flammable.
Triple homicide, huh?
Triple homicide down the road from Mike. We're gonna have to get Mike to do Man on the Street from KC to see what kind of activities going on down there. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to take it from triple homicide in Kansas City.
Did you watch Shane Gillis's open for SNL?
His monologue?
Yeah.
I think I saw it. I think I ended up seeing the whole. By the end of the morning this morning, I think I had caught the whole thing through a progression of clips.
I thought the funniest part of it, and I'm not gonna play it because you hate when we play other people's comedy bits on the show. But
yeah. And I think also I think it's in poor taste. Like it's the same as so music. For some reason, if we play it, the algorithm knows and will make sure that whoever wrote that music gets the money for it. But I don't think when somebody's talking like comedy, like there's no recourse for that. So if somebody does say something funny and it is posted online and they're like it's not part of their active act that they're touring with, if it is posted online, I think the fairest thing you can do is to say you have to go watch the clip yourself.
Yeah.
Because if we did just bootleg it and play it here, we'll get the benefits and they get nothing. And it does seem in poor taste to me. Just to explain that why.
My favorite part of it anyway was he was like he was making all kinds of like racist jokes and making fun of Democrats and stuff. And he's like, being a Democrat's like being part of the Sith. And then he just out of nowhere he just does this Emperor Palpatine. Do it.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious because it was like spot on.
It's that's what's funny to me is why can't things just be funny because it's only funny from where you're sitting, right? Because that's been a cause of a lot of uproar online is him like to some people just laughed at it and thought it was funny. Other people just got upset by it. And I don't know why it can't just be funny.
You know why?
Is it only funny because some people get upset by it? Is that what makes things funny?
Yeah. The problem is anything can be funny if people are self-aware. People are not self-aware. Yeah. So instead of being, oh, that's kind of funny because, yeah, that's kind of like me, they like get upset about it because they think they're something they're not. You know what I mean? So people, you can't have comedy anymore. It used to be a long time ago, even before my time, people were humble to some degree. They didn't think they were anything special. They didn't come from the everybody gets a trophy, time.
Here's what's odd now though. So SNL, when they were making fun of Elon Musk. Austin Powers was playing Elon Musk. What's his name?
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers is playing Elon Musk, which I thought was funny. I think Mike Myers does a funny impression. And like Mike Myers, it's over the top. Like it's not like an exact. It's not like it's going to win an Oscar.
No,
it's an over the top caricature.
It's obviously in jest.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really funny thing. But one of the lines, I don't know.
Glitch.
Yes. So like there are parts of it that are really funny. But one of the lines I didn't really care for because it was on SNL, and I had I felt like this was a line that was written. Like I don't think this was an off the cuff thing, and maybe it was. I don't know, but he's making fun of Elon Musk, and he starts doing this legalized comedy, and again the whole impression is very funny, but they're making fun of this idea that you're just saying about how things aren't allowed to be funny anymore. They're even making fun of that now, like you're an idiot for saying things aren't allowed to be funny. But then you have somebody going up on stage saying things that I think are funny, and all these people are just getting upset about them. But then also those people that were getting upset about the things that I thought were funny, now those people are gonna sit there and say I'm an idiot because comedy still exists. It's just that the type of comedy they want me to laugh at rather than the comedy I am laughing at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Again, I'm getting nebulous on my own words here.
It's no different than all the woke culture stuff because they think that everyone should agree with their way. Then if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. When anybody can,
I guess that's just kind of, that was the air it made me feel like, because I think some things, like comedy, everything is not for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Like I don't think Adam Sandler is for everyone. For me, Adam Sandler can do no wrong. I'll watch even his worst rated movie. I was just on here the other week saying that I thought Jack and Jill was funny. You know what I mean? Like it's not the best movie, but I think it's funny.
He would tell you it's not the best movie. He didn't set out to make the best movie. He wanted to make somebody laugh.
And he succeeded in that. It does have a lot of funny stuff in it. So, but yeah, I don't know. It is different what everybody likes. But
that used to be okay. It used to be okay for people to disagree and then go their separate ways. But now everyone is insisting on that you have to agree with them. And what's the point? I mean, we can sit here and we can debate something. We're not going to agree on things, but who cares? You have to have that conversation. I mean, the woke culture has weaponized words. So you're not allowed to say this. You're not allowed to say that. You know, if you say this, it means you're this. And none of that means anything. Words are words. People give them too much power. You should be able to say whatever you want, whenever you want.
I think
people should understand that they're just words.
Like a funny example is like Andrew Dice Clay. Like his type of humor, it might not like play as well today, but or even George Carlin, right? Like the 5 words you can't say on TV, right? Yeah. Like. Again, a lot of people at that time were wildly offended. I can't believe he would use such vulgar language. But that was like, in Dice Clay's case, I feel like that was the entire joke. The entire point was how vulgar and over the top could he make these nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
What's in the bowl, bitch? You know, and that was...
Well, to some degree, social media and YouTube and, I mean, a variety of things, the internet, basically has ruined all that because you can't find anything more crude than what you can find on the internet. You can't go to a comedy show and be completely embarrassed by somebody because it's been done 1,000 times somewhere on the internet already, you know?
Yeah.
So having that available to you all the time, you know, desensitizes, I guess is the way to put it. When, you know, if you went to see Dice Clay, you'd be sort of humiliated or embarrassed by how crude he was. You know, that's funny. You know, I mean, it's funny for a lot of reasons. Like you can look around and see people turning beet red because he's saying stuff that, you know, that they're embarrassed by. And that makes it funny. So, you know, not only is he saying something funny, but people are having their own comedy show in the audience because they're looking at somebody that's
getting
freaking
uncomfortable
out.
From the,
But you can't do that anymore because everyone's totally desensitized because of, you know, the availability of everything.
Yeah, because it does seem to me like it is really severe. Like you'll get like Kill Tony is a huge brand now, I would say, on the internet, right? Yeah. And it's got its complete own audience and its own following, but it's like it is completely desensitized. Like the shit people say on there is like it's almost as bad as the beheading videos online. The things they say, but because the beheading videos exist, like by contrast, you know, these are just words,
right?
And it's not so bad. But I guess it's just so extreme, and I feel like there just isn't maybe a lot of good middle ground. Like it's either clean comedy or it's like maybe is a little too extreme. I don't know. Or I don't think it's too extreme. Like if it's funny, it's funny. But I think that me personally, I guess, like I find myself in situations where there's something I think is really funny, but it's because I'm totally desensitized and I don't have a good frame of reference for what might be bad or not okay. Like and I guess the proper context, right, is to remember, like, if it's in a comedy club, then everyone that was there to hear it knew where they were and where they were going and the things they may or may not hear or see. But then
to a point, I mean,
but if you're like at a restaurant or something, maybe there is a level of what is and isn't appropriate, right?
Well, this whole thing started with things that went on in a comedy club and people still freaked out, though, you know?
Well, SNL is a little different to me than a comedy club. It's Lorne Michaels.
SNL's a network television show, so it can't get any more milquetoast than that.
Yeah. It just, or I don't know. It's broadcast to everybody, and so everybody's going to get to give their take on it. And then because it's built this brand and basically if you're a Kill Tony fan, you're not going to buy a ticket. You're not gonna bother going to watch the SNL taping.
Right.
So when Shane Gillis is there doing his monologue, you know, he's essentially he's the heel card. You know what I mean? There's no way he can win this because he's the heel card when he goes in there. And
who would go see a taping of Saturday Night Live?
But there are
What's
people
the
that are
attraction?
legit fans. That's just what I mean. Like it's so extreme, especially with like comedy. Like it's so extreme. These different pockets of comedians, and maybe there's overlap behind the scenes, you know, at the clubs. But as far as what you see online, who's on whose podcasts and who's friends with who and who's touring with who, like as far as anything you can see, it is like a really extreme difference in these different groups of fans, and the comedians themselves seem like they're definitely, like, it's like you're saying, it's like this thing of people thinking they're better. They're better than Kill Tony, and they don't need any of that. And they're not going to be like those low lives that are telling these horrific jokes. You know what I mean? So they think they're better than that, so they're not going to touch that.
Yeah.
And those are the people that are, you know, still trying to be on the Tonight Show. You know what I mean? Or whatever the fuck that even might mean.
Right.
You know, like people that still want to go host the Oscars or whatever. You know what I mean? That's a different group of people. Like Howie Mandel recently like shattered this illusion by going on Kill Tony, and I don't know if it's gonna hurt his career. Like I haven't really checked back in to see if it's hurt his career, but he's one of these mainstream guys that I thought he was trying to act like he was above it. Maybe he just really didn't know about it, but finally because he's trying to podcast and trying to be hip with the youth. Finally, he gave in to the success of Kill Tony, and he came in and gave them their flowers. He went on the show and was cool about it. But you don't see a lot of these other. I shouldn't even say a lot.
That's a good question. Why would they even have Howie Mandel on? What's the benefit for them?
Howie Mandel is he has a following. He is online and has a social
but the
media.
following is my age and older.
Well, I think Howie Mandel is interesting. Like as a comedian, I've never known him as a comedian, but he's always, I guess you can say, like if I think about it in a broader sense, I have known him as a comedian, but I've always thought of him as a TV personality. You know what I mean? And one of the more likable ones at
America's
that.
Got Talent.
St. Elsewhere.
I've always liked him on TV, and he's tried to make his footprint on the internet. But to me, the reason I think you take him, if you're Kill Tony, okay, Tony is a lot like Vince McMahon, okay, and he's trying to promote and he's trying to move up this promotion ladder all the time. And Howie, being this big established mainstream figure, by Howie coming on to the show, that's opening, whether Tony wants him there or not, it doesn't matter. It's from the outside looking in. Now, who's Howie Mandel rubbing shoulders with all the time? Heidi Klum. I don't remember who else. Howard Stern. I'm trying to think who else hosted with him on American. But you know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
It's opening. I think it's opening more eyes to what he's got going on, and potentially opening the door for more.
The problem I'm
people
having
coming
is
and
you and
joining.
I have had this conversation before, but you fell exactly on the opposite side of this, because Tony has a thing going. He's going to gain popularity. It's because he's sort of anti-establishment. He's out there doing something. It's like the chain smoking in these places. We're not even allowed to smoke, and they're sitting up there smoking. They're anti-establishment, and that's where they're drawing their fan base from. When you have somebody like a nobody, in their opinion, Howie Mandel, why would you give him the time of day and let him on your powerful show? It's like playing to an old person, because for what? There's no gain. Only Howie's going to get a gain out of that.
I don't know. I don't know though, because the basis of the show is really interesting, because you have first timers or up and coming comedians that they pull out of the bucket to come on stage.
Yep.
And then the panel is there to kind of take the piss out of them and make fun of them more, roast them,
right,
and juice them for more comedy. But there is also this under, like, you have to really pay attention to catch this. But there is this legitimate underlying tone of wanting to teach people and make them better at comedy, right? So yes, you're going to get the piss taken out of you, but you're also going to get a chance to get legitimate advice from people in the business, and that advice varies from episode to episode. But I don't know if it's something Tony briefs the guests on, the panel guests, beforehand, or how it works. But something I've noticed consistently is when he has these older, for lack of a better term, these legacy comedians, right?
Yeah.
Like they might, I don't know when the last time Howie's had a special out.
40 years. It's got to be 40 years since he's done real stand-up.
Exactly. So
when he's blowing a rubber glove up on his head.
Well, what I would say too is I think it does bring more attention having somebody like drawing older people, because you think of reels now, even old people are on Facebook reels scrolling through, so they see Howie Mandel on a clip of Kill Tony. Somebody clipped it, they might be like, "Oh, what's this?" And you could draw more people to Kill Tony.
And then they're gonna go watch a Kill Tony episode and be like, "I don't like this. It's not Howie Mandel."
Maybe not, but the fact of the matter is it might drive clicks, which drives money. But what I was trying to get to about the older comedians that are on there, they might make jokes and razz the new comedians on stage, but the older comedians will always give like more sincere advice. And I don't know if that's something that is like planned and that he briefs them, or if that's just like when you're up there on stage and you feel how bad this person is feeling because they're getting roasted in front of millions of people, that maybe they actually just feel the sympathy for him. And but from that aspect of it being somewhat of an actual learning and building training ground for comedy, I think anytime you get somebody that's been in the business or in the career for that long, you get them on stage, they're gonna throw out their 2 cents. For the people that are on stage or the people at home like me that are watching, I'm gonna get to see Howie's critique of how, his take on people's stand-up, and what's his critique and what's his advice, and what are any of his tips he's learned through his career, for whatever it's worth. And he does a show every week, and every week there's a new guest, and he recycles guests quite often. there is a limit to who you can get as a guest. And just to me, I feel I see what you're saying with the anti-establishment and not.
I feel like you totally flip flop on this issue because a couple of years ago you would have told me I don't give a fuck about Howie Mandel.
Well, I don't as Howie Mandel necessarily, but when I watch Kill Tony, I watch it for laughs, but I'm also hyper analyzing it and trying to. It's like school that nobody's done it yet, and Tony is working on it now. But this is like comedy college if it could exist, and without actually having an outlet or a place to do it, I can actually sit there and watch what these comedians do as they come out on stage. Watch every little detail, how they're holding the mic, what are they doing with their hands, what are they looking at, the cadence, the rhythm, how many jokes per minute, and this is all stuff that Tony breaks down with them after every set. He breaks down how many jokes or how many punchlines they got out in that minute, and he'll give people real advice on it, and so you know what I mean. I'm watching it for more than just the entertainment value, and so I'm just trying to explain why I think why Tony would have these people on, and I think that's why is for the genuine educational aspect of it.
So you're saying that they value Howie's perspective in some way of engaging with these new comedians.
Yeah, just in the fact that like Howie Mandel or not, at some point he was a kid going through comedy clubs and he made a career out of it, and he's been very successful at it, and he also has, for better or for worse, he's hung around in the limelight for a long time.
Yeah.
So in a career that has only existed for a handful of years, you know what I mean? Like stand-up comedy has only been a thing for a very short amount of time, right? Who's the guy they say started it? Lenny Bruce, who apparently, I don't think he probably actually started it, but he's what people would point to as the first modern comedian. Lenny Bruce. Is this what you've heard as well, or is this just what I'm picking up from Kill Tony?
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. I mean, Bob Hope was 100 years old, and that was in the 90s. He was 100 years old, and he was a stand-up comic.
Can you just Google when stand-up comedy started?
I don't know.
It
started whenever people started to get up in front of other people and do things.
Jesters.
Yeah. Okay, but how long has it been a career where you can make money with? It's like so baseball only recently became something you can make money at. Before that, it was like drunks and bums and people that didn't work.
You could still make money at it. You just couldn't make, generational changing kind of money. I mean, it used to be that, you had to have a job in the off season, to make ends meet. But
I know I'm not gonna. What were you gonna say? You're just getting
like
bored over there.
This is when Joe Rogan starts talking about fighting.
Getting too into the weeds.
Says Wikipedia says the founders of I'll put up on. I didn't bother reading.
You just end up monologuing and it goes on and on and on.
I didn't look through a lot of it, but this is like talking 1800s, and this says the founders of modern American stand-up comedy are whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Jack Benny, Bob Hope, George Burns. Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's obviously morphed from being a jester to a clown to obviously to prop comedy and stand-up comedy, right? I mean, I imagine it started. Prop comedy was probably before just straight up stand up.
I don't know. I do think there's a difference. Like stage performance has always been a thing. I think like if there's more than one person on stage at a time, I think that's a different thing. I think if you're using props I'm sorry. I also think that's a little bit of a different thing than just
I'm just
using
saying,
words. Standing up there by yourself and using words.
That it's obviously been a morphing thing. It's been an evolution. One thing that I thought was funny, Carter said old people, even old people are watching reels and stuff. That's one of my favorite things when you're working on a job for these old people and you go in the other room and they sit down at the kitchen table or in their recliner, they put their glasses on, they're squinting at their phone, and then volume on max, scrolling, watch a reel, scroll, watch the next one, and they sit there for an hour or 2 hours just doing that. When you see the old people sucked in like that, it's crazy.
Nanny Kathy was telling me the other day about how the algorithm scares her. When I was over there shoveling, she's like, yeah, we sit down at happy hour, we talk about something. The next day, I pull out my phone, there it is on Facebook. and she was talking about, she's like, I get all these cooking recipes, but it pisses me off because they never actually give you the recipe. They just show you the video of it.
Once again, I feel like I'm the biggest oddball ever because I have no interest in that type of entertainment. Like, the reels are okay for a second, but literally a couple of them, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Can't deal with it.
Well, you're probably only on YouTube reels, right? YouTube
Instagram, Facebook.
They're all the same anyway. It's all TikTok derived. The whole thing is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. You know.
When you get on a stretch and you find 10 of them that were like that, those guys cutting down that tree, that's when it gets really good. When you.
You know what I found, honestly, my favorite thing on TikTok is clips of movies and TV shows. And I found out that really I just want to go back to satellite TV because having the options in Netflix, it also takes way too fucking long to go from one show to the next show on Netflix. And I do like to watch things like a fucking spaz maniac. You know what I mean? Like when I was in my prime with DirecTV, I would have at least 3 channels going at a time, and I can't remember exactly.
Hit the back button.
You'd hit the back button, but I even had this rhythm, so if I hit the back button and it was on a commercial, and I already know it was on a commercial on the other channel, so I can't hit the back button again, I had this quick rhythm where I would slide, like I would hit the remote on the armrest of the couch, so it would slide down my hand, and I would hit 299 or 298 or whatever Nickelodeon was, you know, and I had Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon all ready to go in my head, you know, and I would just bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, bang, bing, and there was never a moment where I wasn't consuming the content I wanted, and I'd go from thing to thing, and it didn't matter what was on at what hour, you'd find something you wanted to watch between all the channels we had on DirecTV. Or you might have a movie going on FX, but the commercial breaks are really long, so you got to switch to something else.
Well,
and,
I tried that a little bit with Dish, watching TV.
But that's your mistake, Dish.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's the same channels. What I'm saying is that you watch for a little bit, and then the commercials just become too much to handle.
Well, try watching the Amazon Prime. It's nothing but commercials the whole time. 3 minutes out of whack.
That again brutal. Is where you're not using it right, because you have to have all your channels that you want to watch ready to go, and when one's on commercial, you just keep flipping between all the channels until one of them that you want isn't on commercial anymore, and you might have to have 5 channels ready to go. That might be what it takes.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think we're kind of I'm over streaming. I think it's marginal at best. I do like DirecTV. I think it used to be really great.
The fact that whatever you had on kept playing in the corner while you scrolled for something else. Why can't any other fucking streaming service do this? Why can't Netflix do this? Instead of playing me ads for shit, just have The Office on. You know that's what I want to watch. Just have it on, and maybe I'll actually fucking sit down and watch something. By the time I scroll and look for it and find it and click resume or restart or new episode or season 2, I'm so done with it.
Well, that's why YouTube is such a big thing, though. Especially if
I
you
agree.
have
That's why it's the only thing
Premium,
I use,
because you don't have to watch ads. You can, and YouTube Premium's a lot cheaper than Netflix.
And guess what? When I'm on YouTube,
ads.
I have a video playing in the corner, and I'm scrolling YouTube to find the next video to watch.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of streaming, did anybody watch Landman?
No,
I've not watched it.
Is that any good?
Yeah,
I've seen
really
clips of
what's
it.
Landman?
Billy Bob Thornton.
It's a Taylor Sheridan bullshit, but it's really good. I mean, I like Billy Bob Thornton. So
I think you gotta you gotta be a Billy Bob fan. I think that's it relies on him.
Yeah.
From what
I
I've
think
seen,
I
I've only
think
seen
it's
clips
shirt.
of it.
you,
But
you have to
Shirt
get
Atlanta.
past the fact that he looks like a 12-year-old in the pickup because he's so tiny. But if you can get past that, it's a really good show. It's the writing is not the greatest. It's
It's probably
Taylor
just like
Sheridan.
Yellowstone.
yeah,
right?
it's very similar to Yellowstone. You know,
What did you think of America Primeval?
I liked it. I mean, it obviously wasn't. It had its issues, but I thought it was okay. I still don't know what those whacked out people living in the brush were. The ones that were living in that burned out mess. That looked like the Whitakers, but
Well, they were they were
cannibals, I'm assuming, but
but they were coming down from Canada, I think. I think they were
like they're coming out of the Appalachians. But
but well, weren't they speaking French or something like that?
I thought it was just gibberish. I couldn't tell.
I think they were speaking French. So either they were coming from Canada or they were coming from France.
That doesn't explain the mutant look they had, though.
Well, I think that was pretty common thing.
Really?
I think that's what it was. I think there was a lot of people like that. Really.
Why do we want Canada to be the 51st state if they're mutants?
I don't know. There's just a lot of mutants like that in the weeds and stuff. But
out
I
in
think
the rubble, only the rugged survived out then.
yeah, it was.
You had to have big bulging eyes so you can see predators from all angles.
It was a bizarre. It was a bizarre thing. I was telling. I don't. Did I talk about what Peter Berg said on the last podcast? Did I talk about that? How he's going to
He's
make.
doing some other show.
Yeah, he's going to do another show about General Custer.
Yeah.
Same in the same format.
Landman was good, though. We binged it in a weekend.
Wow.
I'll have to put that on the list.
Yeah.
It,
We were talking about. Well, just for the fun of it, what made us pull up Dallas the other day? Was it?
it was just on, and
It was. It was just.
it just popped up in the feed there. So let's throw it on. This is an old TV show, and
the first episode right out of the gate, I just immediately I go, Taylor Sheridan's a hack, because if you watch the first episode of Dallas,
I don't think that was the first season. That was like maybe the second or third season, but it was pretty early on in the series.
it just the show is exactly like Yellowstone. Yellowstone is exactly like Dallas, like the archetypes, the characters, and the basic premise of them being wealthy and on this ranch, and there being these big business dealings. And all the archetypes are exactly the same. And we were talking about this, and I was like, oh, I guess that's going to have to be the next thing on the podcast. We'll have to play side-by-side clips and show these comparisons. Well, I looked it up on YouTube. If you just look on YouTube,
Dallas versus Yellowstone. Or
yeah,
something like
or I think I looked up Yellowstone is Dallas is what I looked up. There's this woman that made a video that she broke it down and tells you which character is which character, and it's 100% accurate.
that. 1-to-1.
And she has a more positive take on it, where she's like saying how she's old enough to remember this show, and she is like it's inspired by it, and she kind of looked at it like a positive thing, and like how Yellowstone is kind of like a throwback to Dallas, but I kind of looked at it as like what a scumbag Taylor Sheridan is to not have. To me, it is such a bootleg of Dallas, and there's certain shots they use in Dallas of the ranch that to me, obviously, like there's no way that Taylor Sheridan didn't say, yeah, so I'm thinking like the intro to Dallas. I want a shot like this and a shot like that, and like there's almost no way Dallas wasn't used as a reference for season 1 of Yellowstone, because that's how similar it is in my mind. And I think he needs to come out publicly and say this because of how similar they are to me.
Yeah, I think it's even more than that. In the heyday of television, those 1-hour soap opera dramas that were on, almost every night. I mean, those were the biggest thing in television. I mean, the only thing that beat out Who Shot JR, which is from Dallas, J.R. Ewing, was the ending of MASH.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those were like crazy ratings times for those shows. So why not bring them back? I mean, people loved them.
People, and obviously they still do. People love Yellowstone, and that's all it is a soapy drama. And did you find the video, Carter?
Is this it where she's just showing pictures of each
Yes,
person?
this is it. Pat, what's the channel name? Pack.
Yeah.
This woman actually has a lot of videos on her channel.
She's only got 900 views on this video, so obviously it's not a very popular thing.
Well, she's a pretty small channel. She's got a lot of different videos, including like cooking
She
videos
nails
and
it,
stuff.
though, I mean.
Costner, and I love him as an actor. And so the commercial said season 2 was starting. So I had to go back and binge watch season 1. And the first thing came to mind after I saw a couple of episodes was, this reminds me of Dallas. Kevin Costner's character, John Dutton, reminded me of Jock Ewing. John Dutton, one of his enemies is Thomas Rainwater. And you know Jock's from Dallas. Jock's enemy is Digger Barnes. And
I mean, I can see why the video only has 900 views.
Well,
but
keep in mind, this video was made 5 years ago, okay? And it's made by somebody that is of an old enough generation to have watched Dallas when it aired.
Yeah.
Okay? And so this comparison, the comparison she does, and she goes through and she does have pictures, side-by-side pictures for everybody else for the rest of this video.
yeah, I'll just show the pictures here.
Yeah. And Dad, do you know the characters from Dallas?
Yeah, that's JR.
So JR and then Jamie.
It's Bobby.
And that's the brother that gets killed early on. I can't remember the character's name.
Does Bobby get killed early on in Dallas?
No, they linger around. They all of them do. You know, you got to remember in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, you didn't kill people off because that was the death of your show.
The A team. I was always a big rib to show everybody getting up, walking away at the end, right?
Well,
nobody ever died.
Right.
In an
The
episode
A team's
of the A-Team.
rib was nobody ever really got hurt. Nobody ever died, even though they're blasting
Tons of
off
destruction,
millions of rounds of
missiles
ammunition, and rolling a car 100 times from a 100-foot jump. You know, nobody ever even got a scratch. You know.
Yeah.
But no, I was not a huge fan of Yellowstone. I do like the Harrison Ford one.
Yeah.
But Landman, while on that same plane as Yellowstone, is so much better. And maybe it's just because it's the oil patch instead of ranching. I don't know, but it just it spoke to me. It's totally unrealistic like Yellowstone, also, but it's still
but that's
fun to watch.
That's what makes it fun. Or like for me, what I like about Yellowstone is these totally unrealistic scenarios they find for the cowboys to tell city folk to piss off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's this one scene where they're for some reason they're trailering horses around the country or something, and they stop someplace and they're like letting the horse out, and Rip's like walking it around in a circle because they're on some road trip or whatever.
Yeah.
And a mom walks up with a little girl, and the little girl goes, "Excuse me, mister, may I please have a picture with your horse, or may I please pet your horse or something?" And he lets the kid pet it, and then he sets the kid on top of it, and then the mother takes a picture, and they walk away, and they say thank you, and then this
20-year-old.
Yeah, 20-year-old couple comes up and goes, "Hey, dude, can we grab a pic of the horse?" And he's like, "Fuck off! You want a horse? Buy your own."
And, this isn't a fucking petting zoo.
Yeah, not a fucking petting zoo. And these totally unrealistic, unreasonable moments that are written into the show specifically. That's the only thing I like. I live for that in that show. These moments.
Well, then you'll love Landman, because the premise, without giving too much away, is Billy Bob plays a landman, so he's like the problem solver for everything that goes on in the oil patch. Well, where the oil patch is also where the the Mexican cartels run their drugs and people through.
Mm-hmm.
So, that trouble is going to ensue.
Yeah.
But instead of Billy Bob being threatened or fearing the cartel in any way, he basically just bitch slaps them, and they have to take it because
what are they gonna
he's
do?
such a badass.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what it is. That's what I like about it.
It's fun because it's taking back some power from scumbags. You know what I mean? Like the people that you most hate are the ones taking the abuse in these shows.
Yeah, and it's like it's always like some fancy guy in a suit, and he's trying to make this place a resort town, and then you see him get dropped in the cattle guard. You like your cattle guard so much, why don't you live in it? And they drop him in. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. They just drive away, and he's just rolling in the cattle guard. He can't get out.
Well, I think this is definitely our longest episode so far. Hour and 47 minutes.
Old guy energy throws the whole thing off, I'm telling you.
Well, me and Dad have better banter, I think, and Curtis thinks it's monologuing.
I think there was no banter. I think it was talking about something that only autism cares about.
We were having a conversation.
Ancient and autistic, boy.
Yeah. Well, you're so old that you made it out of school without getting labeled autistic.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to stay in a classroom I guess they keep all the retards in classrooms now, but I would have been, I would have been there with a aide or something,
Well, definitely
it's a good thing you waited till an hour and 50 minutes to say retard.
Retard means to slow down.
And we're safe for advertising dollars because they only care about the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't give power to words.
Yeah, we went over that earlier.
No, I think it's funny because Mom would be on him about it.
Oh, she still got it on somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we might have bored her too. She gets sick of listening to us talk too. She a lot of times will leave the room when me and Dad are talking.
Yeah, we'll be doing this, and she gets up and leaves every time.
Yeah.
Or yells to shut up. It's sad enough.
That's happened before too. Sometimes we have to leave. But I don't know. I mean, but I guess to me, there's a level of engagement I feel when we talk about something, and sometimes we don't always engage on what we're talking about. We're all trying to force something on each other, and no one's really engaged in it. I feel like we kind of engaged in something. Like it might have felt like a rant to you, but Dad had asked me a question about the Howie Mandel thing, and I was trying to explain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we were in a conversation, and it might not have felt that way.
To be fair, too, that's a callback to a discussion we had in our living room about. I can specifically remember trying to tell Caleb to pay attention to Jerry Seinfeld because he was a super popular, super successful stand-up comedian, and he wanted anything to do with it because he's an old guy. He wants something that is fresh and wants the eyes of somebody that's current. But then you say to me that there's some value in Howie Mandel. So that's a 180 flip flop, and I don't know whether that's just because you see it from a different light, or
but also I would like we're already in the longest podcast ever.
Let me just explain to you my problem with it.
Curtis is going to get up and walk away.
Is I can tell you that 99.9, probably 9 repeating % of the viewers do not care what value Howie Mandel brings to the Kill Tony show. And that is what the debate is. And so that is where I'm getting lost.
So you're saying I'm right that nobody cares about Howie Mandel.
It's a fine conversation and it is engaging, but my eyes glaze over because I don't really care what value
we managed to kill
brings.
the chat. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's
because we were ignoring it. That like if we had
they stopped chatting with themselves. They're normally chatting amongst themselves
but
that's all I would say is a little bit goes a long way when you're in the weeds on a topic.
Okay, Willie.
you know, we've got 40 some odd episodes. You can go listen to a fucking different one, or don't fucking listen at all. You know, I'm sorry for you because you have to sit here because we wanted you. We selected you. You were among the top few that were selected, hand selected, to be a part of this podcast. This is a privilege.
I would also say if you have a problem with it, you need to ride your youngest brother a little bit, you know, to get here, because I'm here because he's not. You know,
I don't even know what he was doing.
Well,
he went to the mall to pick up our suits.
A call back to the earlier conversation about the bathroom in grade school. Calvin's got a good story about that. So,
oh man, yeah. Well, we got to get Calvin back here for more podcasts, and I guess because even Aunt Amy's given up on the show, maybe we should just give up tonight too. If Aunt Amy's turning it in, maybe we do too. But
night, Amy.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for enduring this apparently most boring discussion of
I think we did.
comedy.
I think we had a pretty good hour, and then there was I don't know how long that.
Was it an hour when you started saying let's watch the reels because you had enough of us?
That's what I mean. I actually think things picked up after the reels. I think the beginning of the podcast was significantly worse than what's happened since the reels.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess.
And I don't know. If you you know, can you be more clever about the way you want to redirect the show? Or
it's hard to get a word in edgewise.
Okay, you say that, but it's not.
I did derail it. I did derail it there. Eventually, I was able to finally derail it.
For what purpose, though? So you see where you've got us now? Like, what purpose did we...
I derailed us for a while. I don't know. I had a funny topic I brought up.
I don't know. I thought it was going fine.
I think it's going fine, but I'm also aware that you know, I'm the odd man out here. I mean, I think the shows are much better without me, for sure. I mean,
but I guess here's what I would say
I'm the Howie Mandel. Nobody gives a shit about my perspective.
The reason it's gone on longer is because I haven't felt every minute passing like a grain of fucking sand. Right? I've been enjoying myself having a conversation here. So the episode ran on, and yeah, I was ready to keep going. I wasn't done yet. And so maybe we consider that a fucking gift, and we let it ride. And if you got someplace to be, beat it.
It's definitely a different type of episode, too. It's not like
well,
a lot of the time
you're changed up the room, you changed up everything. The vibe is different. I'm on a different couch.
You're always trying to make it a comedy show when
you're on the
here.
leather, so you're sweating through over there.
Yeah,
you're always trying to make it a comedy show, and this wasn't a comedy show for Caleb. This was more of a conversation episode.
But we were still trying to be funny, and I think Dad was funny with making fun of Michael, and we still had some funny. And the funny is to be gotten to, and the thing you guys got to work on, if you don't feel like you can derail the conversation or have something to add to it, work on some chirps and just chirp, you know, on the side, and maybe you two, because we get too locked in over here, maybe you two start a side joke of some kind. You know what I mean? Like
total running commentary, breaking balls about how boring we are. You know, I mean,
exactly. Like there's room for you to do something other than what you've done, which all you did was bother me. I just I
don't know what Amy's talking about. I guess I didn't see it. If Pete Rose, they're gonna let him in the Hall of Fame now or not, but
yeah, I don't know. The thing I was gonna say about the Jerry Seinfeld thing is what I remember taking issue with, and the reason I ended up freaking out and ultimately saying I don't care or had some blow up about it. And keep in mind, I was 19 maybe when we had this conversation. I think I was just at the time when I was working at the golf course. That's when I was like, that was like the first time I think I had seriously talked about wanting to do comedy, because that's when Joe Rogan went to Texas, and that's when I was like, oh well, that's it, that's the move, and this was like 2019. So again, long time ago, and I was still a teenager, but the thing I took issue with was I felt like maybe it wasn't what you were actually saying, but what I was understanding from what you were telling me is that I should be able to, through writing and saying the lines to myself in a mirror, I should be able to write comedy that will work and make people laugh, is what I felt like you were telling me. That was the takeaway from Jerry Seinfeld, is that I should be able to write and perform things alone in my room, and that I will be able to build something that will be able to be used on stage if I write and perform things alone in my room.
I wasn't telling you that. I was telling you that's what Jerry Seinfeld said to do, because that's how he did it.
Okay. Yes, and I remember taking issue saying that's great for Jerry, but me personally, I can't fathom being able to write a joke without being able to tell it. Like, I can think of something that's funny and I can write it down, but that's just a note. And now I have this note, and I'm going to try telling this joke 500,000 different ways until I make it funny. You know what I mean? Because I know why what I wrote is funny to me, but how do I explain that to other people to make it funny? I need people to bounce jokes off of to try them, and that's essentially what a comedy club is, right? Comedians go in there and they work on their material, they bounce it off people 100 times until it's ready to take on tour.
Yeah, it's a different style of comedy too. Like Bob Marley, a lot of his comedy is physical.
Yeah.
You look at him, he makes stupid faces, he puts his glasses on crooked, makes a mess of his hat, whatever. And that's all done in the mirror. That's what he does, is he looks for timing, inflections, all these little things, and that's what makes him funny. It's because his comedy doesn't translate to most of the rest of the country. They don't understand the New England style of stuff,
Okay, I guess here's what I would say.
It makes it relatable.
You can practice your faces in the mirror.
And timing.
How do you practice timing without anyone there to laugh?
Because you know what you want people to focus on.
But what I want people to laugh at and what they actually laugh at isn't always the same thing.
Yeah, it may not work out that way, but
so you understand why I was frustrated at what you were trying to tell me about Jerry.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, that's just because I thought it was funny that you brought it back up, and I still remember that because I've just always I felt really strongly about it then, and I still do now. That
I think
I don't
now
know how you can.
But because time changes you. You can see what I was saying, and that you can take pieces of that. You don't have to do it exactly.
Yeah,
it's just a matter. It's in the way that he put effort into creating an act.
Yeah,
the amount of effort that it took. He said he agonized over one word in a joke forever because he wanted it to hit just right.
But the idea of him agonizing over it in his room alone, that does nothing for me. But when I can see that people are going up on stage and I can see them do the same joke more than once and see how they changed it.
Yeah.
And see how that changes with the audience. You know what I mean? Like obviously you're saying time changes people. I've had an ability to see how this works, and again, to me, it only works with the audience there. How you can build and work on your comedy.
Well, you don't do it in a mirror or out loud, but you do it in your head.
Yeah,
so you do it in your head for yourself before you. Even if it's a second before you say it out loud in a room full of people, you've already done it in your head once.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I would never be able to, like, I can do it in my head once, right? And then I can do it out loud. But after I've done it out loud, I think I need to do it out loud 100 more times to figure out the right way to do it to where it is a bit that Netflix is going to want to buy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you rely on reaction too, and other people don't necessarily have to rely on that. They can put the things together on their own. But the way you get the best feedback is through live reaction.
And I think that's like almost every comedian, though. I don't like. I think even Jerry Seinfeld, even though he might agonize over each word, at some point he's got a time he has to be on stage, and so okay, I'm going to stick this word in because I think this is the right one. So I'm going to go out on stage and try it. Well, that one wasn't maybe the right word, so tomorrow night I'm going to try a different word.
Well, I think if at some point after you became comfortable on stage, you'd be able to read an audience, and you'd probably have different modes as far as how you were delivering the
Switch
jokes.
up your timing, but
Yes.
for the audience at
Yeah,
hand.
and you would know what audience needed what timing after.
After years of experience in front of a live audience.
I don't think it's that with a guy like Jerry Seinfeld. He is as crazy as anyone, and he's basically autistic. You know, I mean, he's just a real oddball. And I think what he does is he might change up his set or his jokes for an audience, but I don't think those jokes differ one bit from time to time. I think that's the difference. And you know, it's different for everybody. You're gonna be a more shoot from the hip guy, no matter what.
But I'm saying I want to hear you admit that from the basis of the writing process for comedy, at some point you have to test things off of some type of audience.
Right. But all I'm telling you is Jerry would spend a long time working on a set and then go to some shithole comedy club with 3 people in it to do that.
Right.
But
bing, bing, bing.
You're missing the whole point.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You're discounting all of that.
No, the whole point
this
is
sounds
I've been saying since 2019 that I want to be someplace where there are shithole clubs where I can go up in front of 3 people because I think that's what I need in order to create a comedy set. And at that time in 2019, you were trying to tell me I should be able to do it alone in my bedroom.
You should put a set together on your own and then go test it out.
Obviously, I put stuff together, right? But stuff I put together, the only reason it ends up on my list is because I said it in front of a group of people and they laughed. You know what I mean? If that never happened, then it wouldn't make the list. Because I can think something is funny all day long, but, you know, like... obviously, if I was in a room full of 3 people on stage and I just had a funny thought, I would just try it the way I thought it, right, and then go from there and work with it. But right now, you know, I don't have a comedy gym to go work out in. So my only thought is there are different like events here and there where you can get a chance to get on stage, right? It's not a real consistent open mic scene around here, but there is stuff that exists, and so in the event I sign up for one of these things and get on stage, I probably maybe have a minute I could do now of stuff that I would try on some shithole stage around here. But
we're gonna have to agree to disagree because we can't. I understand what you're saying, and that's what's gonna work for you. I get that, but you're discounting the fact that people sit down and write a set. They put together groups of jokes and they time it out and they say, I'm going to go from this topic to this
because
topic
they've
to this
had
topic.
the chance to practice this on stage.
You're talking about does the chicken come before the egg here? That's what you're talking about.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we are.
This sounds like
I'm saying you can't. You have to have a chicken to lay eggs.
Right. That's the preparation. The chicken is the idea of putting a set together.
This is like an argument that I have with Carter where I will make my point, he will see my point, and I scream, "Can you just admit you see what I'm saying?" And he just won't admit
I
it.
always admit it. I always admit it, then I retaliate with my point, which is trying to explain further what my problem is on top of his point, and he can never look past his own point.
The problem is, in your case, you're both right, and to some degree, we're both right. Like we're not going to connect on the right combination of words.
I would say
for it to make sense.
I would tend to lean more towards what Dad's saying, because you can't just go on stage with a blank head and then start telling jokes and say, "Oh, that one worked." You have to have some idea before you go on stage what you're going to say.
What Caleb is saying is you build a set a minute at a time. You don't write out a 20-minute set.
No, you might write out a 20-minute set,
No,
but
it
is after some amount of time of experience doing comedy. You might sit down and write an hour-long monologue and know where every joke is going to land after you've had the stage experience.
Yeah. Well, what I'm telling you is you have to have something in your mind when you go up there, and they're not all going to land. So there's going to be a whole bunch of jokes that suck. That's why you do them in a little shithole, because if you had 10 jokes and one of them hit, you'd probably be doing pretty well. Right? So then you keep doing that, and then you save those ones up until you got a nice set, and then you move on to a bigger club. But I still think you have to go up there with an idea in your head of what you want to do.
Yes, you do have to go up there with an idea in your head. But the thing you were telling me is that I should be able to, and maybe again, it's just the way I'm looking at it. But when you tell me I should be able to write comedy alone in my room, when I say comedy, I'm talking about what's on Netflix, right? I'm talking about real legitimate comedy. And you have just admitted through your own process here that you don't get that product on Netflix by just sitting alone in your room. You have to test it out in these small shithole clubs. That's all I wanted you to say ever. You just said it all. You got it to it. And somehow you got to it while still thinking we're on different pages, but we're not. We're definitely on the same page now. And I totally wholeheartedly agree with you. You do have to have some idea of something before you get on stage. Yes, I know that. That is evident. But your some idea of something is a far cry from the final product that ends up on Netflix, which you just explained the process of performing it at clubs and working on it, which is what I was saying from the beginning, and somehow you were saying we had to agree to disagree, but now
we still do, because you won't admit to writing.
No, you want me to say I write things? Is that what you want me to admit? Because I write things all the time.
Okay, then we're talking about the same thing. But
I know that, and I've known that for a couple minutes now. But you
because you won't admit the one thing I'm telling you that you have to do, and you just did it. Just like I had to admit that you have to go and work these things out in clubs. Maybe I didn't make that clear in the first time we had this conversation, but we were only talking about before you ever go to a club. That's the only part I was talking about.
Yeah, but you were giving me the whole thing about how Jerry will write the entire thing, and I was just trying to explain that that's a little down the road maybe. Like you have to be able to test stuff out because
I'm only repeating what he said, what works for him. And that's the only way I framed it to begin with, is that's what works for him. That's his method, is to write stuff out and act it out in the mirror and hyper focus on a word here and there. I'm not saying
which is his method he's developed after years of stand up on the road, right? That's his. You must have listened to it. When did he explain this? Did you hear him explaining this on the street corner long before he ever had success?
No, when he's interviewed about how he got started.
Okay.
So that's what he did before he was ever famous or had any career, was he would sit and write things out. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying that you have to do it that way. I'm just giving you one example of a guy that's made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well,
you can do it however you want.
No, we're on the same page now. I've already got that, and it's on footage. So I still won't be able to sleep at night, but
makes for a good argument, though.
Well, it does and it doesn't, because now I feel like you are just digging your heels in to wind me up, because
I'm actually not.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. It's one of the, like I said, we have to agree to disagree, because we're not going to see where you and I are stubborn enough that we're only going to be able to see what we want to see. And we're not going to be able to go, oh, yeah, that's right.
But I had that moment. I realized when you were saying the thing about practicing clubs, connected there. I thought we had it, and then you're still trying to say something different, and I'm like,
I'm
no,
not.
we had it.
This is Jerry Seinfeld's 5-step comedy writing process. I'm not going to read through the whole things. We'll just read the headers. Step 1, start with a funny topic. Step 2, think of emotions, images, funny things to come up with more jokes. Step 3, assemble jokes, logically connect them. Compress the jokes and adjust the pacing. Step 5, test the jokes out on smaller groups.
So he's got a lot more steps to it.
Test five. The last step is to go in front of a group.
Yeah, that was the point. Right. It was just a wind kill a lot more.
Well, again though, this is his, what I would say, this is his 5 steps after years of experience, and again, I already said,
if I was to go do comedy, which I'm not a comedian. I'm not a funny person. I would take time and plan, like hyper plan out exactly.
You're a hyper planner anyway, though. Yeah. To be fair.
But that's what I would do. Yeah, you should hear about him. Have you heard about him starting to work on our own?
No, but Carter and I have had conversations, so
that's what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I just if it was an actual set, then yeah, it's gonna be something that's written down. If it's like, let me just real quick, I will read you some of my more random notes here. And Curtis, if you got somewhere to be, I totally understand. But so like these are my jokes as I've written them, right? And to me, all of these are still valid. I'll scroll down, so I'm up to 23 in this one particular list, and there's something here in all of these, but to me they need months of time on stage in front of people to find out what makes them good. Okay, I wrote this down. This is joke number 19. To me, I know why this is funny, but I don't know exactly how to explain it. There's some correlation here between doing DoorDash and being a porch pirate. It's like the same thing, but in reverse. There's a premise there.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly. So again, I've had this written down. I've probably tried to work with that 100 different ways, and that was maybe the best I ever had. Is that little giggle just there, saying it's like the same thing, only backwards, same thing in reverse.
Well,
right.
I think that's, if you were sitting down in a room full of Saturday Night Live writers, you would say that, and you'd bounce it off of 10 other people that are all in the room to make something funny. And you're looking for a stand-up joke, they're looking for a skit, and somewhere in the middle is where you'd land. Like you could come up with a whole big skit on Saturday Night Live about how the DoorDash guy is ripping off everybody's Amazon packages when he drops a $5 bag of McDonald's food and takes a $500 Amazon package. You could make up a whole big skit about that. Or you can kind of, cram it down into like a 30-second story type joke.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a premise.
Yeah.
That's,
I had a premise that I thought of today.
Yeah.
That I figure I don't know where you would take it, but
add it to the list.
You could make some kind of joke about people cooking stuff in their disgustingly dirty air fryers, just pretending that it's not dirty in there.
Well, yeah, you could say that about microwaves too. Think of how disgusting microwaves get.
Yeah, microwaves or a toaster oven. Because I was just thinking, like, I can't tell you how many times I've opened up the air fryer and it's full of crumbs in the bottom of it, and I just dump the bag of French fries in there and pretend like there's nothing. There's nothing in the bottom.
It'll get cooked off.
Yeah,
that's how they do it in good restaurants too. They don't.
Good restaurants, they use deep fried oil.
Yeah, you could.
I just
start
mean
it
in
off
the terms
like,
of not cleaning things.
Yeah.
Like good restaurants are a little grimy.
You could be like, something wrong with people that like air fryers. because you know they're just leaving all the crumbs in the bottom of them, and they're just frying their food on top of all the dirty shit.
Yeah. Frying their food on top of the mold and mildew that was in there from last year.
Because nobody's going to want to clean it every single time they use it.
I was just trying to see if I had any other good notes to read. But
since how Curtis brought up, you guys all set for working tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a job to go to, so that's a little questionable. But
sorry, I wasn't listening. Go back to talking about work.
No, I was just asking them because tomorrow technically it'll be their first
day on the
first
job.
day working together.
Yeah,
we talked about loading up the new van.
Yeah, we're gonna load up the. We're gonna.
Did you get it registered today?
Yeah.
You gonna get it inspected or?
Yeah.
I was thinking I wanted to get it inspected before we loaded it up, but Curtis said
It's got 10 days, and I'm sure we can schedule it and just do it one of the days.
Yeah.
Or if John's around on
It's
Saturday.
got a sticker on it now, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's inspected till
November.
November.
There
so
you go.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, tomorrow I want Carter to come over and so he can look at, because he's really stressed out about money and being able to pay himself, and I want him to come over and look at the book and go over what we have for work.
Are you going to keep trying to do that, Curtis? You're going to let Carter take it over?
He needs to take over the getting work part and dealing with the customers, and I'll do the book part of it.
Because you went to school for accounting.
Yeah, but that didn't amount to anything.
Piss hole in the snow.
Yeah. But I would say that he's going to do that. I would like to load up the van and use it because working out of the back of my truck really sucks, and I got so much shit in the cab that I don't know how I'd fit Carter's tools into the truck along with everything else I have, and it'd be nice to just go to the van right away.
I feel like it looks unprofessional too, showing up in a beat up pickup truck.
I agree with you. That's why
loud.
I told you guys just bite the bullet and go get a new van.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I don't think we've lost work over it to this point.
You got to put your stickers on it too.
Yeah, we gotta put the stickers on it. I'd like to do that, and then fix. Carter said there's more rust. We might try to fix the rust in the afternoon if we get to that point. But
Well, it should be exciting anyway, right?
yeah,
I told Carter he should take a month off. He's worked for 10 years on somebody else's schedule.
he's so hell bent on working. It's unbelievable. It's like he was
Jesus Christ! What? It's almost like he wants to make a buck, huh?
Yeah, he was pissed. He was pissed when I said I wasn't going to work on Monday.
Well, you got to give him a little slack here because when you go from 7 to 3:30 for 10 years, 7 to 3:30 every day, and you know he's a creature of habit. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
It's not
creature
just
of habit. Creature of habit. He said he needs to make $300 a day.
it shouldn't be that hard, right?
Well, eventually it'll be easy, but right at the moment we're going from work for one to work for two. Gonna kind of eat it up pretty quick.
I don't know.
but-
No, I don't know. You see, I know you're trying to rag on Carter a little bit here, but I actually tend to lean on his side on this a little bit because like Dad said, $300 a day to me, just from what I hear of people looking for work, seems like it's in the realm of possibility.
$300 take home a day is 8 hours at $50 an hour, which is
Yeah, but you're not charging $50 an hour. So it
I
should
know.
be a half a day's
yeah,
work.
no,
for-
I think it's a
what
doable
about
thing.
materials and everything? I thought there's a whole freaking book to this. There's a whole freaking game to this.
There
and
is.
It's not
You
just
don't have to work
your
40
labor
hours.
per. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta do the whole soup and kielbasa. You're not just doing the.
All I'm saying is I was getting a little frustrated with him because it was the
He's
way
ready to go.
No, the way it was coming off to me a little bit was that the company was supposed to be full steam ahead, 80 hours a week, and he was just quitting his job to jump on board and ride the gravy train.
Well, I mean, obviously that's not what ended up happening, but I mean, you're pretty well set up here. I would say. I think to.
Yeah, I think we're in. I'm not saying we're not in good shape.
Motivation.
I think we are. But that's what the goal of tomorrow is to have him look at the book and see what's going on, and then go from there.
Get
We have a few jobs to do this week, a few to do next week, and then
we're out of work.
Well, you guys both know that you should probably be subbing too, you know?
Yeah, and we haven't done squat for advertising.
I added us to Google the other day. I'm pretty sure that's how that woman called me about the hot tub.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All you got to do is play on Facebook, because about every 5 seconds somebody's looking for an electrician to work for free.
Well, and so, you know, that's the thing. You gotta.
I misspelled the name.
You gotta jump out after these ring ting things. You know, if you're really worried about the work, you know, because
I think you just go out to lunch every day and leave your business cards on whatever sub shop you got your food at.
That works too.
I mean, I think that.
But then when people call, you got to show up.
The smallest amount of advertising, I'm sure we'd get work. The guy that I'm working for doing this remodel. I should tell this. I should tell this story. It's too bad it's so late in the show to tell this story, but it's pretty.
Save it then.
You could save it if you want to save it.
I think too. If you guys are running short of work, go a little south of here, because finding somebody that can speak English and show up is tough.
He called 20 electricians and 2 called him back, and the one that he got to show up to his job, this was the last job that he did. The one that he got to show up was some goat farmer from Effingham. It wasn't even the one from our town. Some goat farmer who could barely get anything done because he would never show up. So it seems like it's pretty hard to find anybody to do work. So I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, but like I said, he said that's what he tells me, but then in the next breath says, I haven't got any calls for a while about work. So
I just got a text today. I told you.
You said that he was handing your number to somebody else. You didn't say you got it at work. But
it's a lead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys haven't settled in on a contractor that has you do all their work yet, and
we have a few, but they're all small.
Yeah, you gotta come across that guy that is doing bigger projects.
Couple houses.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point was big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
First day on the job. Well, yeah, I guess
big thanks to Carter too for getting that van.
Yeah, big thanks to Scott.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Carter. Scott can eat my shorts.
Like I told Grandpa, I think it's his way of like keeping me on retainer, like trying to make sure that I'm definitely in good graces with him.
I think that's part of it, but I think a big part is, hey, thanks for all the time and effort you put in.
Yeah, because I would say you put in like the amount of effort it's going to take to run your own business is the amount of effort you were putting in to somebody else's business for years.
Yeah, and he could just coast.
Yeah. Obviously it's a nice gesture, but
$4,000 is a pretty small bonus.
Well, I mean, you can look
can piss on all you want, but you already made the point that those vans are going to go for a lot more than that in that condition.
But anyway, regardless of the monetary value of the van, it's a really nice gift. But don't let it feel like you got something hung over you or something, because I think you earned every bit of it.
No, I mean I offered him the money, so I don't feel like he just gave it to me.
No, but I would lean into the idea that was a hey, thanks for all the effort that you put in for me.
Yeah, and
not that hey, I'm giving you this, but it's because I want to keep you handy.
Yeah,
and even if it is, who cares? It's still work. You're going to get paid for it.
Yeah, no, I don't care either way. That's the thing.
Anyway, van tour coming up soon. Carter's new electrical van. Have to look for that on the channel. I could have kept going more about the comedy thing, and I had something else I was going to say, but it doesn't seem to matter at this point. It's past 9 o'clock. The dog's gone to sleep. I think it's time for us to call it quits.
We definitely put Bear to sleep down here. I mean, he's out.
We could have just kept going. Could have gone a world record telethon tonight, but
way to roll it.
Yep, we might as well. We'll get out of here.
There's no wide angle to cut to now.
Oh yeah. Bye, everyone.
It's so hard to say goodbye.
Goodbye, old friend. May the force be with you.
I'm going now. I bid you all a very fond farewell.